While everyone is talking about the events and movies during 2024, I'm going way back, as in 50 years back, to list the highlights of pop culture in 1974, whether it's science fiction, television, action films, comics, toys, noble heroes, or anti-heroes. This was the year that became the game changer. In 1974, the various talents from Japan was holding it down with new ideas across various platforms of entertainment, be it toys, manga, films, or, of course, anime. One in particular is Space Battleship Yamato, created by Yoshinobu Nishiaki and Leiji Matsumoto. Yamato is a harrowing sci-fi space opera involving a resurrected battleship whose sole purpose is to recover a cure for Earth that is poisoned by radiation bombs from an evil alien threat, the Gamelons. It's a race against time as the brave crew of Yamato makes a desperate attempt to the planet Iskandar. But can they thwart the Gamelius Empire plan for conquest? Space Battleship Yamato is another influential series that further codified the space opera subgenre long before Star Wars, to which the latter borrowed elements from. Japan's major toy company Takara ushered in a new line of science fiction action figures called Microman, whose emergence was a breath of fresh air addressing the need for something more dynamic, versatile, and most importantly, customization via introducing the concept of a 10 centimeter tall action figure with interchangeable parts. The initial design was simple yet ingenious, a slick futuristic design with vehicles and playsets that had removable accessories which empower kids to create. As the toy line increased in popularity and sales, Western manufacturing companies like Mego and Hasbro took notice and imported the items to the United States but rebranded them as Micronauts and Transformers respectively, thus shaping the toy and pop culture landscape for decades to come. After the unfortunate and unforeseen passing of martial arts legend Bruce Lee back in 1973, there was really no one who could take his place. However, the following year, enter the Tiger. His name was Sado Maeda, internationally referred to as Sonny Chiba. In the first of a three-part martial arts crime drama, The Street Fighter, Chiba plays Takuma Tsurugi, written in the United States as Terry Shiguri, who is an immoral martial arts expert and professional mercenary for hire. The fight scenes from Street Fighter are well choreographed as Sonny gives it his all when it comes to throwing punches, kicks, and a bit of acrobatics. While he's not as agile as Jackie Chan or methodical as Bruce, Chiba has more than enough chops to place him within the top ranks as the other Asian action icons of old. Following the success from 1973's Coffee, Pam Grier, the goddess of blaxploitation, returns for yet another revenge thriller as Foxy, who takes on a prostitution ring after the deaths of her boyfriend and brother. Foxy Brown further established Grier as the first female action star, as the concept of your hero protagonist putting a ruthless criminal behind bars was outdated, especially during a decade rife with cynicism. Whether it's urban crime, the Vietnam War, or Watergate, the disillusionment of nobility and accountability was dashed when new refreshing concepts came into play. Films such as Death Wish and Foxy Brown further established the anti-hero formula, but it wasn't relegated to just cinema, but also comics, starting with the introduction of The Punisher, a man who lost his family, who now has nothing to lose, as there is no jail sentence for those who wrong the innocent, when the Punisher dispenses his own brand of justice with extreme prejudice.
Then how do you know? I just know. Look around, right? This city, it stinks. It's a sewer. It stinks and it smells like shit, and I can't get the stink out of my nose. I think that this world, it needs men that are willing to make the hard call. That's what I think. I think you and me are the shit, you know it. Only I do the one thing that you can't. You hit them and they get back up. I hit them and they stay down.
Deathlock was the brainchild of writer and artist Rich Buckler, who not only was the very first cyborg in comics, but his refreshing concept and world building was way ahead of its time when you have a super assassin from a dystopian future gunning down agents from evil rival corporations. Deathlock, which debuted in Marvel's Astonishing Tales, was so influential that films such as The Terminator, Escape from New York, and especially RoboCop took a page from Buckler's magnum opus. Other notable iconic comic book heroes such as Wolverine made his first appearance in The Incredible Hulk, who years later made his mark in the ensemble mutant superhero team X-Men. One of Wolverine's biggest signature traits was not having an aversion when it came to killing his opponents. In a certain issue of X-Men, the Canadian mutant's claim to fame was when he initiated retribution against members of the Hellfire Club by slashing them with his adamantium claws that goes through flesh like hot knife through butter. The Claremont Byrne run during the early 80s was a landmark and had set the precedent for more complex characters and storytelling in comics. In what is arguably the greatest sequels of cinema, this continuation of the Coleon saga serves as a prequel embedded in a sequel, as the story takes place during Vito's humble beginning as a Sicilian migrant to his impending rise in power. In Godfather 2, Al Pacino continues his metamorphosis to a calculating, cold-blooded mafia don. Godfather Part 2 has themes of revenge, sacrifice, betrayal, and tragedy, all the perfect ingredients of a film that I can never get tired of, no matter how many times it airs on television or streaming. And those were my top picks of the year 1974. It was an amazing decade, even though I was too young to experience it. But going back, there are plenty of examples which made this year significant in pop culture.